Picture this: sunshine, custard tarts warm from the oven, golden light bouncing off beautiful tiles, the sound of fado, F-A-D-O. That's traditional Portuguese music, beautiful and sad. Where am I? It sounds lovely, doesn't it? This is Lisbon in 2026, a really wonderful city to visit. And I was there in May this year, so in this episode, I'll talk about my trip while giving you the opportunity to do some great English language learning. And this may even encourage you to visit Lisbon, or properly Lisboa, as it's called within Portugal. I'll tell you about the things I did and saw in Lisboa, and at the end I'll give you an important piece of advice if you're thinking of visiting this capital city. Now, if you arrive in Lisboa in May, one of the things you notice is the light. There is something beautiful about the light in this city, and the buildings are painted pale yellow, pink and terracotta. And everywhere you look, there are tiles. That's T-I-L-E-S in English. But in Portuguese, these are azulejos. That's A-Z-U-L-E-J-O-S. Azulejos. And these are the glazed ceramic squares that cover the fronts of buildings. Many of them have geometric patterns, some show saints and ships and moments from history, and some of these are really beautiful. I love the idea of a house front covered in ceramic tiles. And of course, Portugal is known for its tiles and ceramics. Some of these tiles are falling into disrepair though, and that's a shame. If something is in disrepair, it means it needs attention, it needs repair or mending. So that's the azulejos. Lisboa is also known for being a hilly city. So it's full of miradouro, M-I-R-A-D-O-U-R-O. And a miradouro is literally a viewpoint. And a Lisboa miradouro is often a terrace high up on a hill with a tiny kiosk selling coffee and drinks. And the views in Lisboa are fantastic. There are terracotta rooftops sloping down to the river. And the coastline around Lisboa is complicated. So everywhere you look, there is water, often the sea, sometimes the river. One of these miradouro that we visited, Castelo de São Jorge. In English, I guess that would be St. George's Castle. Castelo de São Jorge was built in the 11th century, in an era when North African and Muslim people ruled Portugal, commonly referred to in English as the Moors, M-O-O-R-S, and we talk about Moorish architecture. Castelo de São Jorge is a beautiful site, and there are great views from all around the castle. One of the things we particularly enjoyed there, well, the place is full of peacocks, those beautiful blue birds that open their tails dramatically. And what we were taken by, the peahens. That's the ladies, and their pea chicks, or pea babies, as I called them. I think pea chicks is the correct term. They made us laugh because they're very cute, and each one has a knobble on the top of their heads, where their comb will be when they're older. Lisboa is built on 7 hills, so if you're intending to walk around the city, you need to be quite fit. There are lots of hills, especially up to the Castelo de São Jorge. So a pair of trainers and a bottle of water are essential. And if you have a step counter, then you will probably get your steps in each day. But another reason why your trainers are important, the calçada portuguesa. These are what the pavements are covered in. Calçada are individual cobblestones made out of limestone, and these are arranged in beautiful patterns. The cobblestones, the calçada, are black and white. Little polished tiles like this look lovely, and they are part of the history and culture of Lisboa. But watch your step, they can be slippy, and some parts need a bit of repair, so mind you don't fall down a hole. If you don't feel like walking, then there is a great trade in tuk-tuks in Lisboa. All over the world, the word tuk-tuk is used to describe a vehicle that's used as a taxi. They tend to be open at the sides so that you can see the view. The Lisboa tuk-tuks, many of which are electric, are all decorated differently, some of them a bit crazily. So if you have a tuk-tuk driver and they're going to pick you up from somewhere, you'll know your tuk-tuk immediately from its appearance. There are also yellow trams, bus services, and the metro, of course. So it's really easy to get around Lisboa. If you're enjoying this podcast but you're finding the level of English difficult, you might be finding my Portuguese pronunciation difficult. But if this podcast is difficult because of the English, then one of our courses that can help you, the most common 500 words. We focus on just that, the most common words. It's possible to learn a language for quite a time without knowing the most common words. So this course will help you understand a high percentage of English that's spoken. It's also great if you're ready to start speaking. It makes sure that you've got the essential words. If, on the other hand, you're finding this podcast easy, you may just want some more quality English listening to help your language learning, in which case go to adeptenglish.com and subscribe to receive extra episodes. Back to our topic today. Another thing to understand about the main streets of Lisboa, they were rebuilt because of an earthquake. This earthquake happened on the 1st of November 1755, and the magnitude estimated at 8.5 to 9, so that is a big earthquake. And as often happens, it was followed by a tsunami. That's Tsunami, a big wave. And apparently the city was on fire for 5 days. 85% of the old medieval buildings were destroyed and tens of thousands of people died. The Prime Minister at the time was the Marquês de Pombal, and he was responsible for rebuilding the city. What came out of this was the Baixa Pombalina. That's Baixa and Pombalina, Pombalina. This is a perfect grid of elegant streets, which replaced the narrow, winding medieval lanes from before the earthquake. So the Marquês de Pombal was responsible for turning Lisboa into one of the most beautiful European cities. And many of the old buildings have wooden structures inside to protect them from earthquakes. The metro station nearest to where we stayed was called Marquês de Pombal. And you can walk down the main street in Lisboa, Rua Augusta, which is just for pedestrians, people on foot, no vehicles. And there are lots of great shops. Rua Augusta connects to the huge square right by the river. Praça do Comércio is the biggest piazza in Europe, and it fronts onto the Tagus River. That's Tagus. What do many people do here? Well, they get their photograph taken by the letters which spell out Lisboa. Here there are also sand sculptors making lions, dragons, dogs, sculptures in sand at the side of the water. Probably also quite photographed the Bastardo fish bar in Rua Augusta. That one makes British people laugh. And one of the great things about Lisboa is the food. If you like seafood and fish, then Lisboa is a great place to stay. During our stay, I ate prawns, sea bass, or robello, which was delicious. And I also ate shrimp and baked cod, which is a very popular dish in Lisboa. Bacalhau à Brás. I don't know how to say that one. But it's a lovely dish made out of salted cod, onion, and fried potatoes, all bound with eggs. Lovely. And everywhere also those delicious custard tarts, Castel de Nata. I ate quite a few of those. These are little pies, P-I-E, filled with custard and baked in a hot oven. We watched bakers in a shop window making them, in a bakery that must produce thousands of pastel de nata every day. I even managed to bring some home, which were all in one piece, remarkably. We visited the Tower of Belém and the Hieronymus Monastery, which is absolutely beautiful. Stone carvings there are magnificent. And there's a slightly different custard tart here, the Pastel de Belém. And only one bakery in the world can legally use this name, the Antiga Confeiteria de Belém, which has been open since 1837. And there is a secret recipe handed down by the monks from the Hieronymus Monastery. So it's worth taking a bus journey to Belém to see the tower and the monastery. Currently you can't go into the tower, but it's also worthwhile for the Museu de Arte Contemporânea. That's the Modern Art Museum of Portugal. My niece and my sister were not impressed, but it's worth a look even if modern art isn't quite your thing. One thing we noticed on our bus journey to Belém, there is apparently no maximum capacity for a Portuguese bus. At every bus stop on the way to Belém were more people. To say we were like sardines in a tin didn't quite represent it. Oh, and that's another thing, Lisboa sardines. And on the bus journey the previous day up to Castelo de São Jorge, we were shaken around. Old ladies were falling over and our bus driver was not for slowing down. One of my things when I visit a different country, I think you experience quite a lot using public transport. So it's good to use the metro and the bus. You get a different view of life. Oh, and one more thing about eating in Lisboa. It's unusual to sit down before 8:30 p.m. And one of the most entertaining meals we had in Lisboa, well, that was at the Time Out Market. We visited there on Sunday the 17th of May. And it just happened to be the 12th anniversary of the market. And there was a party on. Cocktail bars, people dancing, live music. We had a great time and we met people from New Zealand, Toronto, and other places in the world. Time Out Market is a very sociable place. There are stalls around the outside so that you can choose different things to eat. Not everybody has to eat the same. And there are communal tables in the middle where everyone sits. So it's quite a sociable experience. We enjoyed some drinks and my niece, who doesn't drink alcohol, even had a pina colada here. So what's my secret tip for visiting Lisboa? Well, it's quite an obvious one. Buy a Lisboa card. You can get a Lisboa card for 24, 48 or 72 hours, and it will save you quite a lot of money. You can visit for free or with money off 52 different attractions, and you can use your Lisboa card on the metro, the bus and the tram. Great value for money. So there's some information about visiting Lisboa and at the same time some great English language vocabulary for you to learn. Things that are useful no matter which city of the world you're visiting. And one thing we experienced, English as the lingua franca again. If you can speak English, many people in Lisboa are able and willing to speak English back to you. My niece and sister are of course also fluent in French, so that was useful, but the main lingua franca was English. Not that I want the whole world to speak English, but it can be useful when you're visiting European capitals.